Are we awake yet? Uh, I'm definitely not there yet, that's for darn sure. Alrighty. 2:23 in the morning West Coast time. It is Thursday, the 30th of May, 2024. A zombie, we were John C. Roseman, California, emotionally screwed up and sleep deprived as usual. Yeah. Okay. Had a little burr in my keister earlier this morning. An hour, actually, I think about almost a 2 hour sleep cycle, so it's about normal for right now for me. And just checking out the usual stuff online just to see what kind of miserable stuff has already been repeated. And do I actually need to look at the stuff at all? And I found something. I was like, you gotta be frickin' kidding me. You really want me to answer this one? Seriously? Oh, give me a break. Everyone else is all acting like a damn kid. No, 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 no. We gotta have bigger kids over here. We gotta have people trying to go back in time, trying to find the right role model for what it is to be a quote unquote man, be a manly man. Oh, give me a frickin' break. We're definitely kids back in the 70s and 80s. Saw our TV heroes. I know my brother was watching movie heroes a long time ago. And yeah, he was in the Western era, years younger than I. Actually, he was years older than I was. So he'd be watching the Western serials, even on the television, just seeing what was going on. You see who was the manly man guy carried a gun, shot people left and right for the right things. I'm thinking to myself these days, give me a break. But no, going back over the stuff I was watching, I was seeing people trying to kill themselves in a war situation. I didn't understand what the hell was going on. So when I started working the videos on YouTube, I happened to come across the gentleman I keep dealing with all the time, artist in recovery back there in the East Coast. He was noticing Seinfeld and his insanity going on, his troublican mind, wondering what masculinity was all about and how come we didn't have any masculine role models like we had back when we were growing up. Jeez. Swear to God, guy needs to grow up out of the damn sandbox, I swear. Yeah. So, see, back in the 80s, Seinfeld's a few years older than I am, and he had his comedy out there, trying to work on it. And being in the 80s, I'm a teenager, looking at all this stuff here, and being affected by all this stuff. I had role models. I just didn't realize that some of them would actually be more of a role model for me, idea and ideologies and physical role models. That hopefully that I could have been one of them, but never was fated to be. Some people fated to be cowboys and lawnmen. I wanted to be a friggin' astronaut. I wanted to be a friggin' astronaut. You're talking about being a manly man? How about shooting yourself into a damn vacuum and trying to survive in it in a tin can when you're spamming a can, floating around in space for a bit and come back to Earth? You go to the moon for a trip and almost die there. Well, two guys finally make it to the moon and land on it and show how manly and human they were. You see it out of the screen, these guys are walking around on the moon. I didn't know what the hell the moon was. All I saw was this big round white thing floating around the sky. I didn't realize what the damn thing was. I started reading books about it. Then I started reading other books about other people being manly, going to about 200 or 300 feet in water, living in a pressurized can, turned spam in a can in there, but just to see if men could live in a tin can for a time, much like if men were floating around and used Apollo equipment floating around in space, let alone dealing with the Soviet nation up there with their own space station, their own space race going on. And in their process, they lost people in the re-entry. Hell, starting up with the Apollo program just for a plugs out test, testing to see how pressurized the spam in a can was. See if it could stand pressures of holding in oxygen. And there was tragedy in that one. The manufacturing Russian defects. 3 guys died of smoke inhalation, not to mention dying horrifically in there. But before then, we actually had test pilots flying screaming pieces of metal through the air to see if they could qualify to become a spam in a can going up into space and coming right back to Earth and hopefully claim something for political glory, if not something else for that. But we are into politics. But these guys managed to be men. A version of machoism. Challenging the unknown. For whatever reason, they were going to challenge the damn thing. And subject themselves to tests. Those are my heroes. At least I kept thinking during those times anyway. I would think of space explorers going through space, going to different planets, tremendous velocities, and then fighting the other aliens. Okay, I thought that was macho. I'd watch Starsky and Hutch. I'd watch some of the other police stuff on there. I'd seen Emergency, considering about how macho those guys were, trying to go into fire situations, fighting fires and rescuing people. That was macho. That was macho. But the thing that I was living through it nearly at the tail end of it was seeing these coffins coming with flags draped on them. What were they fighting and dying for? Was that macho? Growing up as a kid, didn't know anything about that. All I saw was the Hollywood crap going on, and then the movies trying to display what macho was all about. We see the enemy. Let's go get him. Let's go get him. Oh, I got hit by a shrapnel, and I'm gonna die. Let's get a death scene going. Yeah, it's seeing it. Didn't have emotional impact on me, unfortunately. It didn't. I watched the movies. I watched the television shows. And it's like, okay, well, the guy died. Now what? Big whoop. You know, if I was emotionally screwed up right now, as I am right now, and I was like that back then, maybe I would have had a context, and maybe I would be crying my eyeballs out and really going emoting. But no, tough guys don't do that. Tough guys don't cry. Tough guys don't bawl. Tough guys hold it in. Tough, tough, tough. So now we had to watch shows. I had to watch movies saying about these tough guys. Yeah, look at me, we're macho. Ha 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 ha. Let's swing a sword. Let's be buff and show our chest open. Let's show how we can be on screen to be a tough guy. Look at the muscles. We get the babes. We get masculinity. Ha ha ha. Give me a fucking break. Shit. This shit we keep getting programmed into us. Oh yeah, in the PE fields. Come on guys, tough it up, tough it up, tough it up, tough it up. Hey, I'm in a special ed class. Screw that noise, tough it up anyway. Exercise. Johnny aren't running as much. Yeah, well, I'm having a hard time breathing. Well, push harder. Push harder. Push, push, push. Going to the doctor's office. Don't start crying to me. Marianne, your son's crying again. I don't want to deal with it like this. He's not tough enough. You're not tough. Meanwhile, get into a few accidents to damn near kill you and come out of the damn thing and you're still screwed up as hell. But no, you're not a tough kid. You're just a broken down piece of flesh and blood. That's about it. But you see it on the television, you see it on the movies, and these tough guys kind of deal with it, saying, "Oh, look at me doing this scene or doing this surgery. Oh, I'm fine. I just got most of my limbs hacked off, but I'm still ready to go. I'm still a tough guy." Give me a break. And then you see the presidents or the elected officials trying to show to people that they are, yes, look at us. We got guns. We got this. We got weaponry. We're showing how tough we are. You follow us, otherwise we say so. You don't follow us? Well, we got a problem with that one now, don't we? Yeah, right. And unfortunately, some of those guys with a group of other assholes and bullies and bully boys and everything else pushing away different ideas of if we're supposed to be having elections. Screw that noise. No, we're supposed to be tough guys over here. Authoritative regimes. Yeah. Yeah, we're liberating you guys for the name of us tough guys and pride and ego and everything else. We're in control. We're in demand. We are tough guys. Oh, give me a fucking break with this damn bullshit. And the things I kept saying on the television is, they kept showing about some of the guys with the quote-unquote PTSD trying to kill everybody else left and right because they got mentally screwed up heads. Why? Because they were in combat somewhere else, and they were showing how weak they are because they weren't tough guys. Oh, they were tough guys doing their jobs, but then it turns out they weren't so tough. They were broken down. But that's not tough enough. No, we'll discard those guys because they're not tough. They're not masculine. They're not manly. Manly to drop a bomb in someone else's ass. Manly to take a gun and shoot the person left and right in a combat situation. Slice and dice them somewhere else. How about in Hollywood? We show that stuff all the time. I know we got to educate the people left and right on this one. Tough guys don't read, do we? Are tough guys educated? Do we go to classes? Well, so the military actually did have educational requirements. You had to graduate high school. At least minimum get a C average so you can read some of this stuff, especially if they're going to be giving you a bunch of manuals to read. Oh my God, reading materials. No, that's for geeks. They're not manly. They're not macho. That's reading. Yeah, and some of the scientists were geeks. Geeks. Can't deal with geeks. Oh, but the geeks will make the equipment and make everything else that the macho guys will use to do their stupidity with. Yeah, I'm reacting to this thing like dealing with a damn mosquito bites, but it's driving me crazy, and it's a weird ass itch I've got in my head on this one. Sure, Seinfeld can mouth off about he misses tough guys back then. Different time zones, different perspectives, different viewpoints. But he misses those guys because we don't have them here. We have wimps. Oh, give me a fucking break. So I didn't see the rest of the article that Artist Recovery was doing at this point. I just said hell with it. We're mentioning Seinfeld. I already know he was a fruitcake in the first place. He's a Trumpette. He's a Trumper, actually. And I don't deal with a maggot. I don't deal with a maggot. I never did like his humor at first. Like, I don't know. Something about him, I just... People liked him. He commanded a hell of a lot of salary. That's for darn sure. But I never watched it. I've tried to watch it. I couldn't understand his damn shows one way or another. There was no continuity, no storyline. Just odds and ends, like doing a stand-up comedy routines. And unfortunately, I wasn't into that one. But he worries about people these days, or actually the men, not being macho enough, not being manly enough, not having not being a man, and what it's labeled being a man. Shit, give me a break. You want to talk about being a man growing up as a teenager? You try taking care of an elderly grandmother who's stroke ridden, and you got to be an orderly, learning on the job as you go, and taking care of a grandmother who keeps calling after Fred all the time, who needs to be fed, needs to be taken off the pot, get a hoist and winch going on, and lift her up a little bit so we can get bedding fixed on her, and then try to keep my grades going, try to keep a house cleaned up. See, I learned how to grow up real damn fast and try to be responsible. You're a teenager. The word is try. Successfully, that's another story altogether. But you try. I get yelled at all the time. But you still have to be macho about things. Oy vey. Seeing all these damn characters and portrayals going on the screens and how they're supposed to be showing some kind of attribute, I didn't understand what the hell they were doing. To tell you the truth. But those are the role models we had. Oh sure, and how about the role models of guys going out to different neighborhoods and beating the crap out of them because they have a racial discrepancy going on. Some of them may be wearing badges about a racial discrepancy going on, badges being shoved in people's faces, and then you get to see a riot going on. Or two, or three, or four. Where's the machoism in that one? Where's the manliness? We're supposed to encourage education in our youth. We try to get them up to speed of what politics are all about, what history is all about, what science is all about, what mathematics is all about. Try to get them up to speed of what English is all about, or reading stuff. Try to make them think. But no, is that macho? Is that blowing things up or putting lead, instilling lead in people left and right, and calling it macho? How about this for macho? If you couldn't cut it in college, you had to cut it full-time work, which meant you had to search for work. And then you had to bust your ass. 9 to 5 jobs, full-time work. Stockman, use your muscles. Not much on brains unless you're going to be stocking shelves for a while. Try to scoop ice cream properly enough so you don't, you get enough product to the customer, but not cheat the company as much. And balance the register. Is that manly enough? Is that responsible? Go home, show them the paycheck, have it deducted, you get a small change of it back, everything else is taken. You still have to pay for rent and bills and everything else going on. Is that manly? But you're responsible. You have to be responsible for this stuff. And then, since you're under one roof and sharing with two other adults, your responsibility is clean up and kitchen detail. Not to mention cooking, taking dogs out, and doing errands. How about that one? Is that manly? Try this one. Decades later. Decades later. Jobs come, jobs go. You're seeing the world going hell in a handbasket with wars and everybody else trying to skull thump everybody else. And then you get to be put on caregiving duty for your family and see them die. Is that butch enough for you? Try to fulfill a college program, a promise to a deceased mother and a deceased brother. that you've been caregiver for, and trying to get the good grades while not trying to lose your head. Is that mentally ambitious enough for you? Maintain your sanity all the damn time and trying to laugh like crazy while you hurt like a son of a bitch. Is that butch enough for you? Is that manly enough? See all these damn people with their egomaniac thinking going on. That they want to take rights and freedoms away from everybody else. And you see the people cheer for it. They cheer for, oh, we got God coming over here, so we have to be like God. We have to be like Jesus. And therefore, we got to beat the living crap out of people or shoot the hell out of them. Is that manly? Is it? Or going over to one side of a country and blow the shit out of people left and right? Laugh your asses off if you do unspeakable, unmentionable stuff. And then seeing the people that you insulated yourself with, inserted yourself into, be part of these people and yet be a threat to them. And then see everybody else get blown to hell. That's manly. You see a gas bag on the court systems wanting his old job back, and he's willing to lie, cheat, steal, and brainwash people left and right. That's manly. Oh, but elections were rigged. Elections were rigged, were they? But you don't understand. It's a conspiracy. That's manly. That's responsible. Shit, give me a fucking break. You know what I do for responsibility at this point over here? Every time the first of the month or roughly that time's coming up over here, I got to do balancing at this point. I got to balance what I've got for expenses and then what I need for the rest of the things throughout the rest of the month, and pray that maybe I'll get maybe $1 or $2 left to be transferred over to next month that'll help out with that particular month's bills. Worrying whether or not if I got a dog that's going to be living or not for the next several months, and then trying to deal with the emotional impact, especially when that dog dies. But still have to keep it together to get my graduation going into college. Is that manly enough for you? Or how about this? Everything else that I've experienced in my life that I damn near got myself killed in, that I've experienced a lot of trauma that a lot of people go through life and just say, meh, or they go through the trauma of their own levels, losing homes to nature, losing homes to fire, flood, tornadoes, hurricanes, tragedies, where places get shot to hell, but they're supposed to be normal. That's macho. That's I don't know what the hell that is anymore. To tell you the truth, honest God, I don't know what it is. So when I say something about Seinfeld doing his mouthing his shit off left and right, I'm thinking to myself, he ain't worth it. He is not worth it. Guys like him are wondering how come we don't have the manly macho uh, icons like we used to have a long time ago as a kid. I'm like, check your brain back then and compare it to this time. You really want that shit going on? Are you really that stupid? People want to go back in the past and relive the damn things because they think it was easier. When you were a lot younger and you were a lot dumber and you were still learning about what life was all about as it kept slapping you upside the head. How about that one? Is that considered manly enough for you? Under constant threat of a nuclear war, and you get past that damn thing. But now, oh no, now we got terrorism here. We got internal terrorism as schools and other places get shot to hell. Or how about a federal building is blown to hell? And maybe you're part of it, or maybe you're not part of it, thank God. Or better yet, when you have some other countries out there formulating plans on destroying you and your democracy left and right by hijacking a few airplanes and just crashing them into a few buildings over here, killing thousands of people. How about that one? Is that manly enough for you? How about when you see an injustice happening over here that sparks a riot that inflames several cities? You see one particular area of a town that has marching people over there with anger, hatred, vitriol over here. Says, you will not replace us. Is that macho? Bad enough when you see a kid getting shot for no apparent reason except maybe the guy was stupid about it. And the world goes nuts over that damn thing. Bad enough I kept saying schools and colleges get shut up because of anger and stupidity running around with the gunman. Doesn't know what the hell he wants to do. Wants to solve a problem by taking a gun and shooting people. Is that manly and macho enough for you? I had seen this injustice a hell of a lot. And it's still part of the human condition. We just don't know how the hell to solve this damn shit. We got it buried in our genetic system over here that we have to be stupid enough. We have to prove that we have an ego running our mouth and running our actions just to prove that we don't have any intelligence anymore. We don't have any heart, compassion, or any love. Oh hell no, no. We want bloodshed. We want more lead particles in people. We want it blown to hell and call it macho. Give me a fucking break. So if I'm going to hear these guys say, I miss the days because we don't have any male macho ego people to see. If I had any business cards to hospitals, I'll say, here, 72-hour pass going in. Let's see if you're sane enough. And if they prove that you aren't sane, well, they probably got a room in there with you, ready to go, with a straitjacket and a padded room, all set up for you, and soft food for you. Enjoy. Idiots.